Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is International Master Bin Jing with you once again, and today I will be going over Kramnik in his game against Nitro Shorts. Yesterday I did Luke McShane's game, and that was a draw, but today's game is actually a win for Vladimir Kramnik. I'm actually doing this a bit early because if you look at this right here, only 2 games have finished so far. The Short Kramnik game and the Howell and Adams game. And this is basically perpetual. At the end of this position, actually David Howell is up a pawn, but he really couldn't really do much because the bishops were very strong. So I think that maybe black had some chances to win if you want to because of this passed pawn on a3, but decided not to go for it. And yeah, so that's a draw. I'm just going to look at Houdini really fast to figure out if that's the case, but it seems like black does have a very small advantage, and you could try Queen e6, Rook b2 or something, but at the end of the day, it's most likely going to be a draw. With the Nakamura and Aronian game, actually, this is actually really interesting because Nakamura was playing very enterprisingly, and let's just maximize the screen. He's playing very enterprisingly and playing very aggressively, and actually he got the exchange. So now he's actually up the exchange, and they reached time control because time control is about 40 moves in I think 2 hours, and on the 41st move they get 1 more hour. So this time they have a lot more time, and Nakamura has a clear advantage here because he's also up in exchange, and this pawn e3 is probably going to fall. So yes, Nakamura has very good chances to beat Aronian. And the Luke McShane, the person that we did yesterday, he's playing as Carlson, and he's doing okay, I guess. I mean, according to Houdini, like white has a large advantage because he's actually up 2 pawns, but only one of them counts because he's not. If he's up actually 2 pawns, then it should be +2, but here is only plus 0.87, so not exactly 2 pawns, but still very close. So the game we're going to do is Nitro Shorts and Kramnik, and as you can see, Nitro Shorts lost. So Nitro Shorts is 2698 and Kramnik is 2000, and today we're going to just focus on Kramnik. So Kramnik is actually the number 4th seed in the world right now. I think that's number 4th seed. So according to this, I actually just read his bibliography today really fastly, and he actually is around 36 years old, born 1975, and if any of you guys are like in the chess scene or know some chess history, then you'll know that Vladimir Kramnik was the one who beat Garry Kasparov when he was at his prime. When Garry Kasparov was at his prime, I mean, he was only 24 years old, and he basically beat Garry Kasparov in a 15-game match. And the reason that he beat him was because Kasparov just could not beat Kramnik at all, and Kramnik would beat Kasparov twice and then just draw the rest of the games. So Kramnik's favorite opening as black in those days was actually the Berlin. I think he still plays the Berlin nowadays. Maybe he plays the Petrov. Petrov is actually this. This is also known for being a very drawish type of opening. Berlin even more so actually. Bishop b5 and castle takes. I think now you go d4, and you're not supposed to take on d4 because that's actually not a good move. But you're supposed to go here, and this is the Berlin. Basically, goes to the end game, and it's very difficult for white to crack. Most of the time, it's going to be in a draw, and black has a bishop pair, so in the long run, black has good chances. But for the majority, white has the 4 versus 3 majority here, and usually white tries to push on the king side, and black tries to push on the queen side, but usually it's good at the end, but in the draw. And that's what Kramnik used against Kasparov most of the time, just Berlin him to death, and Kasparov could not beat him. And so Kramnik was the world champion in 2000, and he also defended his title match in 2004 at Pioleco, and he had to win the last game to actually get the title, and he did. And then in 2006 against Vesna Topalov, there's a famous story about this. It's called Toiletgate. Basically, it's kind of like Watergate, and I think some other gates too. But basically, Toiletgate means that Vesna Topalov accused Kramnik of cheating while he went to the toilet. He went to the washroom a lot, and that was really dumb, I would say, because obviously Kramnik would not cheat in this type of situation, and Topalov was just being desperate because he lost. So kind of a sort of loser, I would say. That might be one of the reasons why Topalov is not invited to a lot of big tournaments anymore, because of the incident that happened. So yeah, he won again in the final 2007 in a round robin tournament. I think he finally lost. it wasn't a title match. It wasn't like 1 versus 1. It was more like 12 people or something, and they all play each other. And Kramnik finished second. So where's second? Okay, so he finished second to Anand, and we will cover Anand very soon as well. Anand's actually not playing today because there's only 9 players, so it's the odd person gets to have a bye, which means he just sits out and not play, and he commentates on the game. And he was not able to win 2008 when he lost to Anand in a 1-versus-1 match. Kramnik is very, very strong in these 1-versus-1 matches because he has his own style of openings, and it's very hard to beat him. But the problem is he also doesn't win that much either, so that's why in these type of like 10 people round robins, he usually doesn't get first, even though he's very, very hard to beat. He gets like second or third because he just draws too many games. But yeah, so now he still plays a lot of tournaments, and he's a very, very, very strong player. His I think his favorite opening with white, well, back in the day, or maybe even now, is the Callan. The Callan is basically this. I'm just going to go through his Callan really, really fast. And let's say something like G3, yeah, so this is just the Callan. And he's known for basically using small advantages and just destroying his opponent using very, very small advantages, like advantages that you will not be even be able to see, and you'll be able to like understand it, how to nurture it, and just beat them, because Kramnik is just known for that type of player. He's very technical, very slow, methodical, and he is aggressive at times, but he usually will not sacrifice pieces because he doesn't need to, right? With his style and technique, he just needs to get into endgame with a slightly better position and just destroy his opponents. Just see how fast I'm going. I should seriously talk less, but okay. So let's just go through the game. Let's see here. So I'm gonna just put this on, and this game is actually very, very interesting how it went. So okay, my computer froze. Okay, there we go. So this is 6, and in the old days, that is Berlin. Now you can basically stop it with basically 2 ways, I think. D3, or what Short did, knight C3. And Kramnik has probably played against this kind of line many times, so he sort of knows what he's doing here. And the move that he played is actually just knight D4. This is actually kind of interesting because basically I'm not quite sure like what the verdict of this move is, but it seems like white can just take this knight because of this e5. So this is a fairly interesting move. Another move that you can probably play is knight d5, but it's not quite so good. Well, Houdin doesn't think so, but I think knight d5 is also the other move. But this line is just known to be very, very drawish, and it's quite difficult for either side to make progress. But I guess Kramnik is fine with this because he can probably outplay Short in type of a drawish type of position. But Houdin does like e5, so like Short does play like fairly accurately here. Accurately. Okay, so the move that Kramnik now plays after changing out the knights and stuff, so the material is actually equal. He decides to just take this pawn. He has the option of actually taking this guy first, take this guy, and he's actually up a pawn in this position. But the problem is, well, Houdin understands this right away, is that black is actually behind in development, so that's really, really bad. So for example, bishop e7, and now something like rook e1 is very strong because of castle, bishop c3. After, now the queen has to defend this bishop, right? So he has to play queen d6, and then just play queen f3, bishop g5, and well, something like rook e4 is very, very strong. Even though white is down a pawn, white has huge compensation because of this thing here, and then after putting the bishop here, there's some stuff here as well, and this is just very, very dangerous for black because he might get checkmated here very fast if he's not careful. And as you can see, I'm using Houdin's best move, so if black just makes a bit of an inaccuracy, he's going to lose because the defending side has to make less mistakes than the attacking side. That's just how it goes normally. But yeah, so that's why he didn't take on d2 even though it gets him a pawn. So he takes this guy, he takes this guy, bishop c5, develop the bishop, now he plays queen to check. Okay, so this check is meant to force the queen to either e7 or e6, trade queens. And I'm not sure if that's a good idea because, well, you shouldn't really trade queens with Kramnik. It's going to be really hard to beat him. So, but he does anyway, and now Kramnik could have taken on e2 if he wanted to, and it would have been very, very draw. completely drawish, pretty much. Like they could probably agree to a draw right away if they trade queens. But Kramnik actually doesn't trade queens, which is interesting. And now Short understands that. Okay, so Kramnik probably should not trade queens. So queen f3, and now d6 and g5. So now this is a interesting type of position right now, because Kramnik now plays queen f5, and Short actually sees his like tactic right away, because basically he traps this rook because the rook cannot move anywhere. So basically, Black's not going to be done with exchange. That's what I thought at first, but Kramnik sees differently. Well, first of all, he's going to ruin White's pawn structure by taking on f3. So now what's happened here is that now there's some like weaknesses here, and potentially actually he can play bishop h3, which is pretty much a draw as well. So takes this guy first, and doesn't actually matter which one he takes, and this will be a draw because of opposite color bishops. Even though White's up a pawn, normally opposite color bishops, even with rooks on, is very drawish. And if Kramnik wanted to draw, he could have done this right away, but he's a high rate player, as you can tell, and he's outrating Short by 100 points. So he definitely doesn't want a draw here. That's why he played a6. And this is a6 is a very interesting move. For example, let's say he takes this guy and takes this guy. Now he brings bishop out. Now I was looking at a move called like f6, and this bishop seems to be trapped. Now I'm not quite sure like what's the problem here is, because after something like bishop f5, rook e2, king f7, rook a e1, this bishop is still very trapped. So you can actually just take this pawn if you want. Now for something like bishop d8, I can actually take this pawn again, and I'll take a lot of pawns actually. Black will just take all these pawns, and even though it looks like White's up the exchange, Black has 2 pawns for the exchange and the bishop pair, and even if White managed to trade out the bishop, Black still has good chances of a win just because of all these pawns, and this pawn structure is very bad for Black here. I mean for White here. So yeah, that's definitely an interesting possibility. But that might explain why Short saw that might explain why Short did not take the rook. Actually, he just moved back. And now the move that's still recommended is bishop h3, which is basically like a draw line, as I've shown. But Houdini thinks is the best move. And the reason he thinks is because he doesn't really like b5, and this is why. Now the reason that Houdini thinks he doesn't like b5 is now he can then take on bishop takes f8. And the big reason is bishop e7. Let's say I think f6. Okay, f6 is not quite so good. So, apparently f6 is good. So yeah, so because you always want to play f6, trap the bishop, trap this bishop, and make sure that White doesn't move his bishop out here, and then White should be fine. But if you trap this bishop, then this guy might get trapped. So something like this could happen. Rook e8 and probably rook e2. And now he defends his bishop. But this seems very difficult for White to play. I mean, even though White's up the exchange, his bishop's kind of trapped, and Houdini does give Black a very tiny advantage. Very tiny advantage. So Black can make progress, and White has to just sit. This must be a really painful game for White to play if he gets this type of game, that he's up the exchange and he can't really move his pieces. This is probably just a really awful type of situation to be in. So I guess Houdini probably thought this was good at first, but now after looking at it a bit more, he understands it's not so good. But the big problem is he doesn't really have much choice, because after, okay, so he plays b4, which is not, I don't really like b4, I think bishop b3 is better, but let's do b4, because, okay, I think b4 is not quite so good. I think he should just went back, because after b4, he actually weakens his position quite a bit. And after rook e8, this is a very accurate move actually, because now if he just went back, let's say he went back, now he can actually take it because the pawn is here now, and that does make quite a bit of difference, because now this pawn, there's just some slight differences, and you can see Houdini actually agrees with me that there are some slight differences. Let's say this f6, and now he can play c4, and this is probably one of the big differences. Now he can play c5, and this bishop won't be trapped anymore. So this is definitely a big difference between the positions. So Kramnik played very accurately with rook e8. Basically, this allows White to actually take this guy if he wants, but it's not quite so good, because, well, first of all, apparently he really likes rook e6 because he doesn't want to ruin his pawn structure, but he really likes rook e6. So I'm going to just go rook e6 here and keep him a check. Wow, he really likes to check. And so he doesn't want to take this pawn. Holy, wow. It's very, very impressive analysis by Houdini. And it looks like he's going to lose some stuff here. Just takes here. And yeah, black just up a pawn and definitely has a big advantage here. Definitely, I can see black win this game very easily. So yeah, that is why you don't take on c5. And that's why he went rook e1. But the thing is, now you can actually move this bishop back. And that's what he did. Bishop back, bishop here, bishop here. So material count is even, but white does have this weak pawns here, and they could prove to be troublesome in the future. But that's not the end of the story. The really important part of this game is that white actually just lost this bishop. He actually just can't move out. He has to actually play c4 or like a4 first and then c4 and get this bishop out. But that's really his only option. I mean, otherwise this bishop can be trapped here forever. And as you can see, this is a very dangerous problem to be had. Apparently Houdini likes a5 here. I think a5 probably is a better move, but I mean, I can't really disagree with Kramnik's move because his plan seemed very simple and idealistic, basically trapping his bishop, stopping c4 from coming up. So d5, rook e5. It's a bit of an inaccuracy. He thinks a4 is better right away, just trying to get something going really fast. But yeah, rook e5, c6, q1, and now just bishop c7. I mean, this is very simple chess. Bishop c8. Now he plays a4. I think this is probably a bit too late now because the big problem with now is that black is actually going to trade both rooks off. And after this, black has a gigantic advantage. Houdini thinks it's only minus 0.6, but this is gigantic. Like, this is probably plus 1.5 or plus 2, I would say. Because the thing is, black's, like, white has to lose a pawn here. He has to actually sacrifice a pawn, because otherwise his bishop is dead. And bishop d8, bishop d5. This is just kind of a wasted move. He wants to move bishop to d4, I think, or not. Moves bishop to b8. But yeah, this doesn't actually help white. It just helps black, because now this bishop gets to g6 as this pawn. So that if any time he does this, he can take both pawns. So as you can see, this is totally lost. So he actually cannot play c4 now, like, ever again. So he takes on b5, here, and now black has a gigantic advantage. His bishop's trapped, his bishop's good behind this pawn, so this bishop cannot move. And basically what black has to do is just trade out these bishops. And black just wins, because white's essentially playing down the piece. And that's never a good sign when you're like playing. You never want to play down a piece, especially if your piece is trapped. So black doesn't have to make too many active moves here. He just has to just be careful not to give white too much counterplay, and just have a plan. His plan here is just to trade some pawns off to be able to get his king all the way down here. So then this pawn can be taken, and this is the long-term plan. But as you can see, this happens very, very quickly, very easily as well. Okay, 5, g4. So now he doesn't really want to take this guy, because after bishop takes g4 or king takes g4, this pawn is probably going to be hanging, because one idea is just here and here. To protect this pawn, go to king h3, and black's going to pick up this pawn and promote this queen. So that's very simple. So this king f1, he doesn't want to move. He doesn't want to like take it at all. He wants him to take this. And even though Houdini thinks it's like -1, Kramnik's plan is just as simple, and it's very, very easy to play as well. So g3. This it looks like he made a mistake here, according to Houdini, but it's not quite so, because after taking, oh, apparently he thinks he should take with, oh, never mind. So yeah, so take, bishop here and bishop here, and actually short actually just resigned here. As you can see, there's no more moves. He resigned. Yes, black resigned. You're at the end of the game. So yeah, that's a very impressive win for Kramnik. Basically, yeah, he didn't have that much advantage out of the opening. It was sort of like a very drawish type of game, but short made a few inaccuracies, like bishop e7 all the way back here. It's very difficult to see. Let's see here. Where is bishop e7? Yeah, so it's very difficult to see that he actually don't win the exchange in a lot of lines, and this bishop actually becomes trapped. And Kramnik actually surprisingly saw this, and he was able to just use that advantage against short. And the one mistake I would say is probably b4. I think bishop b3 would have been better, even though it shows that white's would be a bit worse. I definitely think that this is something that he should have tried, because b4 just is too weakening, and now there's some like big problems with this. And as we can see, one of the reasons is this bishop actually becomes trapped, and after looking the whole game, this bishop's still trapped. So basically white was playing down a piece, and it shows that black is up a pawn, even though I believe black should be up 2 pawns, because I guess Houdini thinks that black's just going to win 1 pawn and trade off the bishops, which is very easy to play. So for example, let's say he really has no moves left. Let's say he plays a king here. Then he's just going to bring here, right? After going here, he's going to go here. Yeah, after going here, or here, then you go here. You trade off the bishops. And after this is pretty straightforward. I mean, it might show only -1, but black's plan was to trade off the bishops, and after this, push pawn here, move his king over here or something, and it's just a winning game for black. So yeah, this is a very good game for Kramnik, and it really shows what you can do with a small advantage and how you can use that technical ability that you nurtured throughout the years to basically win a game. And I can definitely tell you that a lot of players will not be able to win this game that Kramnik just won. It takes a special type of technique and skill for someone to win this type of game, because it's a very long-term advantage. It's a very small advantage, and you have to really be patient and understand long-term plans in order to win this type of game. And that's what Kramnik does ideally. He understands these kind of long-term plans, and he uses them to great effect. And Short just didn't really play the best moves, I would say. Short's a very aggressive player, and I will go do like a short bibliography on him another day, but he definitely played into Kramnik's hands, and getting the queens off, having this bad pawn structure, f3 and f2, bad pawn structure, another bad pawn structure, and just allowing Kramnik to basically do what he wants to do, and win the game very easily without any risk at all. Like, black had no chances of losing that game, which is something that you always want to have, but usually you don't want to give your opponent that option, because then your opponent doesn't have any risk. That means that he'll keep playing on, because no risk, or the reward, right? So everyone's going to want to take that chance. But yeah, that's the game for today, and thank you for watching, and tomorrow I'll be coming back with another game and another surprise person. Hopefully we can get this done in 9 days, I think. Yeah. So thank you very much, and hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.